Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello! Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, narinig niyo ba ako? Alright. So, thank you so much for your participation and where you are right now. So, please be safe at saka patuloy pa rin ang ating paglilingkod sa ating bayan tungo sa ikatagupay po na ating lahat sa pagbibigay sa inyo ng quality education for all. Alright, so this time we will be learning and I'm your tutor, Jess, here for this afternoon to give you another topic that will elicit and stimulate with our minds about the subject, English. And our topic this afternoon for English 10, we will be focusing, okay? This is the second week of our discussions for quarter 4, English 10, giving technical and operational definitions. Okay, to give you this overview, because this is very important in giving technical, especially for operational definitions sa paglalagay sa atin, no? Balang araw or in the thorough run of our discussion, malalaman nyo kung ano bang gamit nitong technical operations for definitions. Okay, one thing is magagamit nyo ito sa pag-research at saka yung mga giving technical, mga topics or ano bang gagawin sa pag-guide o bibigyan kayo ng guide, no? Sa pagbibigay ng tamang paraan, okay? Paano ba mag-describe ng isang concept? At saka pagbibigay ng definition through operational, okay? Definition. So, thank you so much for your participation. And to those who are here, good afternoon. And mabuhay po kayong lahat. We have this Marie Chris de la Cruz. Good afternoon, de la Cruz, watching from Dolores National High School. Thank you, okay? And also, those who are here, we have Rica Lising and we have Josephine Joy Fuentes, okay? Thank you so much. And to those who are here right now, viewing live po tayo sa ating Facebook ng ating ETUlay program of the Philippines. And we have live po tayo sa ating DepEd TV. And in our YouTube, okay? YouTube, okay? So this is English 10. We will now proceed to, okay, actually we're using the EDM or the module, okay? This is, these are the writers, okay, for this module. This is from the Negros Occidental, okay? There's a Region 7 Schools Division of Negros Occidental. So, ginagamit po natin na kaya modules nila. Thank you so much po ng Division ng Negros Occidental. Thank you. All right. So this time to proceed,
hi, sir.
Without further ado, what we know.
Sir, yes.
Okay, what?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's the module is from Negros Oriental. Yeah. Thank you po
Oriental.
sa mga writers.
Okay, all right. These are the writers.
Thank you, sir.
Oriental. Negros, Negros. Okay. I will repeat. Okay. I stand corrected. This is from Division Negros Oriental. Okay. Thank you. Division 7. Division or Negros 7 Schools Division of Negros Oriental. Okay. Stand corrected. Thank you so much. Okay. So, thank you, no, writers. All right. So what I know about this topic, so pre-assessment. So this is now the directions. Tell whether the statements below are true or false. Then you choose the letter of the correct answer. Write the answer in your answer sheet. Okay? Answer sheet. Now, you have your modules there, you have your papers, you have your pen, together with your modules, then you answer it by yourself. What are the answers for this? Okay. We will be starting madali lang, okay? You will select A for true, B for false. All right? So for number one, operational definition is the specific meaning of a word or phrase given as their specific context. Anybody from the group or viewers who can answer this one? Okay. Operational definition is the specific meaning of a word or phrase given in their specific context. Okay. For number two, you write a number right now, and you write A or B. Okay. A for true, then B for false. Okay. For number two, the purpose of defining the term in a research study is to keep them unambiguous, thereby reducing errors. Is it true or false? All right. So you think, right? Analyze the item. What about number three? There are rules to follow in defining terms operationally, right? So, sa ating is there rules to follow? What about number four? There are universally accepted definitions of terms and variables. What about number five? An operational definition is the same with a conceptual definition. Number six, you need an operational definition because you can't measure anything without one, no matter how good your conceptual definition might be. Number seven, in technical writing, words or terms used are defined operationally. Number eight, tell whether this statement is an example of operational definition. Now, well, let's go back to number one. What is your answer? Operational definition is specific meaning of a word or phrase given in their specific context. Okay, let's try to see. Maria Fernando, hello. San Jose National High School. Sige po, tingnan natin kung anong answer. For Choro Jessica, it's letter A. Is it true? All right. The correct answer is A. This is true. See, this is true. Very good. All right. Next is for number two. The purpose of defining a term in research study is to keep them ambiguous, thereby reducing errors. You try to think unambiguous. Then you keep that thereby reducing errors. Mean to say, kung reducing errors, bawal tayo magkakapalit dyan. Okay? Ano ang tamang sagot dyan? Ang tamang sagot is, the answer is, it's letter A. That is true. Okay. So for number three, the rules to follow in defining terms operational. There are rules to follow in defining terms operationally. What is your answer? There are rules to follow in this? Okay, the correct answer is that is letter B. Okay. What about number four? There are universally accepted definitions of terms and or variables. What is your answer? Okay, anybody from the group? Okay, Tutor Jessica, marami talaga nagpapa-shoutout dito, no? So, please, you write your answers. Yeah. Aside from nagpapa-shoutout tayo, then you provide answers so that there is an interactive discussion about us for this topic, all right? So, class, or those learners who are watching right now, this would be your guide, no? So, to determine what are the answers to the following. Okay? There are universally accepted definitions or terms and variables. Are there? Okay, universally accepted definitions. According to the answer, based on the answers that we have, that is a letter B. Okay, that is okay, false. What about number six? Okay, number five, I mean. An operational definition is the same with conceptual definition. Operational, the same with conceptual. Are they the same? Let's try to look. What is your answer? The correct answer is B. A. Very good to those who are writing their answers right now, because this would be your guide, no? What are the answers for your items there in your activity? Thank you. Now watching, yes, thank you so much for watching. For those who are all right, on their place, no, answering their modules, especially the students. Number 6, you need an operational definition because you can't measure anything without one, no matter how good your conceptual definition might be. Okay, the correct answer for this is A. That is yes, this is true. What about number 7? In technical writing, words or terms used are defined operationally. Okay, for technical writing, yes, this is true. Okay, that words or terms are defined operationally. What about number 8? Tell whether the statement is example operational definition. Tell whether this statement is example operational definition. Yes, you have to define and you have to state that this is an operational definition. This is true also. All right. According to this intelligence level, okay, a kind of operational or a definition that intelligence level is defined operationally by some measurements such as the results of an IQ test. Okay, let's try to see what are the fruits or okay, dumilitaw ngayon dito sa ating activity. Okay? More on, we have this operational, we have this technical, we have this conceptual. Now, let's try to look. What's in your module? All right, so I do hope you're following right now, okay, answering with your modules. So let us have short review on how to make definitions by arranging the steps in making a definition. Now, you can put the sequence of the steps by writing the number 1 to 4 in the first column. Okay, in the first column. Okay, this would be the sequence. Okay, okay, after which we will define, will let us see if your answers are correct. So first sequence, so we have the steps in making a definition. You classify the term, you specify what class the category belong to according to the standard of the dictionary definition. And for the next one is the research of the word's origin. Then you look up your chosen word in the dictionary or in another etymology dictionary. Next is to provide traditional details about the term. You explain physical characteristics or traditional thoughts used to describe your term or toy. Next, use examples to illustrate the meaning. Then, now this time, you arrange the steps. Okay. The next. Okay. Okay. All right. So, in your short review, it's a review and make definitions of arranging the steps and make a definition. Okay, based on your experience, so you can put the sequence of steps by writing number 1 to 4. So, in your definition, in your experience, how do you define it? Okay, how do you define it? So anybody from our viewers right now, based on your experience on how to define or how to give or how to make a definition out of the definition of a topic. So anybody from the class. So if you have this experience of arranging it by what's the first based on your analysis. Okay, pwede bang, okay, let's start with, uh, you will classify the terms. Okay, it could be that you specify the classes category word belonging to a category or standard dictionary definition. It can be. Okay, so what about number 2? If that would be the case for number 1, what about it's for number 2? After classifying those terms, after classifying those words, you will now research. Okay, research the words and regions. You look up your chosen word in a dictionary or in another etymology dictionary. You research this term. Example, the term about COVID-19 or uh, a text or a word, example, discrimination. Okay, you will write it or you research the word region. Okay, what's the origin of that? Okay, example, philosophy. Okay, the word philosophy, there is an origin from the Greek word or from what operational definition of that. Then you provide now traditional details about the term. You explain any physical characteristics of traditional thoughts used to describe any term of choice. That's it. Then, after a long run of your definition, there would be and illustrate the meaning. You will use this concept based on this definition to a larger view by giving examples using those terms. That would be simple as that, students. Okay. Let's go beyond about this. Are you now ready to learn more? Then what you're waiting for, class? Hey, what are you waiting for? Let's start with what's in you. So you observe now closes the picture, then you answer now the question that follows. Okay, this picture portrays about, okay, let's read below it. Our troubles are over. I found as a seven-footer. Let's try to think. Kung tingnan natin dyan operational definitions. This is a kind of a picture that depicts something. Okay, depicts something. And it means something. Okay? Alright. So, you can comment down if you have your interpretation in this. Okay? Based on that image that we have. Okay, because we have this our set our minds, okay, how we think with a perspective object. Just like with this picture, what can you say on this? Okay, so those who are at home, you can say something and you can write that in your notebook and your paper, then give some interpretation on it. This is in accordance and that will link with our discussion this afternoon about a topic. Okay? And that topic, but before that, the question would be what would happen when a word or phrase is not understood in the same way by anybody or everyone on a team? So example on this. Okay, kung hindi masyado intindihan yung isang term o ano yung mga explanation, ano yung theme, okay, merong problema sa pagbibigay ng instructions. Example, the players, example, the coach and the player. Then you give your instructions to your players in a game, example, in a basketball game or in a volleyball game or in soccer. Then you have this kind, you should have this kind of strong and clear, specific instructions so that your players will follow what it is. And there is no vagueness and there is no ambiguous to them. Okay? Based on that, then by giving instructions from the coach. So why it is related to our discussion this afternoon about the photo. Then, according to the question, that what would be happen for a word phrase not understood in the same way by everyone on a team? Not only on the team, but any one of us, no? By giving a word or a theme or a concept which is not so clear to viewers, to those who are listening. Okay? So now we will learn operational definitions is about and how to create it. So let's start with conceptual definition. According to what I've said earlier, and we have our pretest about conceptual definition, about this operational definition. Okay. Conceptual definition, it tells you the concept means. That is the concept. You construct are by explaining how are related to other constructs. So in other words, concept definition is just the literal or core sense of a word. There is nothing read into the term, no subtext. It's just a straightforward literal or dictionary definition of the word. As what I have said, class, as what I have said, students, those are viewers right now, this is a straightforward definition. Example definition about love. What is your definition about love? Anybody from the viewers? A love. Okay, what is your operation based on the dictionary? Yeah, it's straightforward, literal. A love is a sense of a feeling of attraction that would be that kind of you are comfortable to have this, and it's a mutual understanding of you and a sense spirit of the feeling of you are comfortable and you are contented and you have this feeling of attractiveness to someone, not okay, not only to a friend, but also to your suitor or whatsoever, to your family, and above also to God. Okay, that's definition of concept was straightforward, literal. In a technical writing, however, there are words that are used specific ways in different disciplines. And these are called operational definition. All right. Okay, let's put it here. Okay, conceptual is straightforward and literal. And there are technical, however, words that are used to specific ways in different disciplines. Naman. That is operational definition. Okay. Let us use the tongue as an example. Right? So, hello po sa ating mga nanonood ngayon. Good afternoon from Ramon National High School. Thank you. Okay, love, love, love. And to those who are watching right now, John Michael Antonio Montoya. Thank you. All right, Trisha and Nick Dow. Okay. And also Lai Chinel Cabontalia. All right. So if you have your answers, if you have your comments, if you have your understanding about this topic, you can comment so that we can answer and I can relay you what would it means. Okay. So example for this is the word okay. Zara, okay. As example, is probably a word that the reader immediately understands, right? Sabihin natin tang, but understands incorrectly depending on context. Example, a tang, if defined conceptually, it can be structure of a mouth, right? So that is conceptual. As what I have said, this is straightforward. Okay, a street or land, part of a shoe, or a language, part of a belt, a buckle, part of bell, anything that is shaped like an owl, tongue. There's an example commonly used to words that is used in common ways, right? So if it is example, if this example, or it is an example of a commonly used word that is used in common ways and may be avoided if the technical writing defines terms that are likely to be understood or not understood. So you should identify based on the definition that you're going to address. So is it a tongue for a part of the mouth? Or is it a tongue or a strip of land? Or is it a part of a shoe? Or it is a language? Say that's it. Go in order to perform this function, there are different functions of that word. The technical writer must watch for words of this type when doing research and must seek to understand the official definitions of these words. All right. So what is operational definition? So out from this straightforward definition for conceptual, operational definition is specific. Meaning of a word or phrase given to it by a group of people who use the word in their specific context. Okay, so that's it. Operational definitions assign meaning to a variable by specifying the adjectives operations necessary to measure, categorize, or manipulate the variable. As what I have said, you have your targets. Operational definition is somewhat like what's in your study that you have to have this focus based on operational definition of that case example, discrimination. Then you emphasize what's in the definition for its operational definition specific. You given that. Okay, aside from conceptual definition, that's literal and straightforward definition of discrimination. Operational definitions assign meaning to a variable by specifying the activities. Yes, operations can be measure, categorize, and manipulate the variable. Operational definition is stated in terms of operations or procedures that must be carried out in observing or measuring that which is being defined. Kaya ano bang pinapalitaw dyan? Ano bang binibigyang tin? Ano bang binibigyang halaga? Okay, based on your study. Example, intelligence relates positively to achievement, implies that higher the intelligence level of a person, the better he achieves. Also, intelligence level may be defined operationally by its measurement. The result of that IQ test, while the achievement level can be measured by an achievement test, whether standardized or teacher made. So there is a specifications. There is somewhat like an example to how to specify a thing. What you call this one? A definition. Okay. So the sole purpose of defining the terms of or variables in a research study, as what I've said, this is in relation to our research, making a research. Okay? Sooner or later, you can have the research. Then, masasalubo, makikita nyo talaga kung ano pa yung mga conceptual definitions, kung ano bang ibig sabihin ng operational definitions. So, ito na yon. This is your guide. This is the first step that you're going through. So, the sole purpose defining the terms or variables in a research study operationally is to keep them unambiguous. What is it unambiguous? You define it based on related to your study. You define it specifically. As what I have said, straightforward conceptual definition, dictionary meaning. But in operational definition, you state how to specify, you state the definition based on their purpose and function, thereby reducing errors. Now, there are how to define variables operationally. There are variables. Okay, if we talk about research, we have this broad general research. We will talk about qualitative and quantitative research. If we talk about qualitative research, it is more on language. It is more descriptive. If we talk about quantitative research, it talks about numerical interpretation of the results based on numerical data. Now, these variables or indicators are used in our study. And the very essential to it is you will define the correct definitions or descriptions to a specific indicator or variable. In fact, okay, according to this, there is no hard and first rule. Again, there is no hard, as sinabi ko na kanina, there is no hard and first rule for person defining a variable. Operational definitions may vary depending on the purpose and the way you choose to measure them. So as what I've said, they're specific. Di ba sa jargons, these are specialist words na ginagamit lang sa medical fields. There are also words na ginagamit lang sa example, teachers, education. So that's it. So there are words that have this kind of purpose, have this kind of function. Okay, whenever possible, operational definitions used by others in your work or good standing could be used when the results can be compared. Then neither are there a universal acceptable definitions of the variables. Wala talaga. So a researcher can logically choose a definition of a variable that will serve his or her naintindihan na. So that's the comparison and the contrast of this conceptual and operational definition. So operational definition in research is critically operational defined variable in order to lend credibility to a methodology and to ensure reproducibility of the results of the study. Another study may identify the same variable differently, making it difficult to compare the results of the two studies. Okay, so an operational definition serves as number one, the purpose. Okay, establish the rules and procedures the researcher uses to measure the variable. Okay, those are watching right now. That's it. Number one, it provides an unambiguous. When you say unambiguous, yung mga hindi mga makaklaro, no, klaro, no, na mga definition, and there should be consistent meaning of variables or terms that otherwise can be interpreted in different ways. It makes collection of data as well as the analysis more focused and efficient. It guides type of data and information where that is operational definition. All right. So example of situation context. So this is again an example. Okay. Suppose a study of classified students according to the grades they received. Example, the A, B, and C, etc. But the task is not that easy if you must determine which students fall in which grade. Yeah, hindi natin maintindihan kung saan ba siya nag-grade since there is a seldom of universal rule for grades. Now, to do this, you need an operational definition. Okay? Magagamit talaga natin ang operational definition, conceptual definition sa ating research. Okay? Now, we have this term paper, concept paper. Yeah. So post further that we want to make 4 categories of knowledge: no knowledge, low knowledge, medium knowledge, and high knowledge. So we decide now to define the knowledge level as follows. Now, this is now the specific ways in using the operational definitions that you have your, okay, classification, the high knowledge, the medium knowledge, the low knowledge, and the no knowledge. How to define it? You have this. If you say the use of operation, the high knowledge, there would be 15 or more correct answers. Medium knowledge, there is 8 to 14 correct answers. And for low knowledge, there is 1 to 7 correct answers. And for no knowledge at all, that would be no correct answers. Then it would be understandable for us how to use these operational definitions. So why do you need an operational definitions when you already have perfectly good conceptual definition, right? All right, this is correct. Because since we have this straight or the literal, meron na tayong meaning, right? Meron tayong meaning sa ating definitions. Just like we're making a concept paper, theme paper, we have this research. No. In order for us to target our function, the purpose of our study, we have to define not only for our conceptual definitions of the specific term of that specific word, but you include also the conceptual. In your conceptual definitions, you explain what your constructs are by showing how they relate to their constructs. You will relate it. If you have this, the first one is you have the example, the definition of a variable about lavender language. You can lavender language. Example, what do you call this one? The English language. English, okay, English language. You define it conceptually, okay. After the conceptual definition, you will have the support or another definition that is conceptual, based on the target, based on the purpose that you're going through with your theme or concept paper. So as what I've said, there is an explanation of the constructs. It refers to as abstract, and their existence only as real as concept as the thoughts you have and while you watch your seagulls soar past on stiff breeze. So in a summary of this, operational definitions describe the variables you will use, indicators and procedures you will use to observe to measure. So ano yung i-measure natin? Then you need operational definition, because you can't measure anything without one, no matter how good your conceptual definition. Okay, you stick to it and you provide it specifications. Then why should you use operational definitions? Right. Okay. Very easy. Operational definitions put workable meaning into our everyday terminology. Very good. That is right. To communicate effectively and avoid misinterpretations, the members of the team, data collectors, and both internal, external customers and suppliers, or a certain group must use the same operational definitions for the same goods. So, magkakapareho man sila sa concepts ng pagbibigay ng yung conceptual definition, but tingnan natin sa operational definitions kung ano yung target, ano yung purpose mo. Ano bang purpose dito sa ating study? Okay, then misunderstanding, waste time, but words, they add variations to your process. Consequently, it is vitally important to develop operational definitions, especially if you are doing research. Okay, so now, students, and to all the viewers right at home, thank you so much for your active participation right now. We're going through with the what's more of our module. So identify which definitions belong to conceptual operational definitions by putting check mark if it is responding by box. So you identify now based on the numbers. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if you can identify that based on the conceptual and operational definition of that, okay, that question, okay, you can have this, the learning, okay, about the two. Okay. All right, so let's start it with number one. What is your answer for number one? Anybody from our group or the audience, for our viewers right now at home? What is your answer for number one? Is it conceptual or operational? Adolescence is a transitional stage of physical and psychological development that really occurs during the period from puberty to legal adulthood. Adolescence is usually associated with teenage years, but its physical, psychological, or cultural expressions may begin earlier and end later. What is your answer from, okay, viewers at home? Okay, for number one, let's try to check. What is that answer for number one? That is, okay, that is conceptual. Okay, that is conceptual. This is only a literal meaning, a straightforward meaning based on the concept. Okay, the concept. And we have this term adolescence. Okay, what about number two? Number two, adolescence refers to teen age ranging from 13 to 19 years. They may vary in research. What is this answer? What is the answer? This is, okay, again, refers to age, specifying. Okay, that is vary in a research. That is operational. Okay, not only in our conceptual, okay, but it's also operational. Okay, what about number three? Number three, the correct answer for number three is, okay, this is an example of, okay, tan, 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 the correct answer is, tan, tan, this is conceptual. Okay, conceptual, very good. Okay, so I know you are following with me. Then you continue with this one by answering if this conceptual or if this is operational. Okay, so for one, two, and three, I already answered with you about conceptual and operational. Then you will continue for number four, five, six, seven. So that will be part of your task if it is operational or conceptual. Okay, so this time what I have learned. Okay, directions, review the lesson and giving technical operational definitions. Then write your reflection in your notebook by completing the statements below. Again, in your module, you have that in your module. What are your technical operational definitions on this, or what are your learnings on this lesson? Okay, what have you grasped? Okay, you've got from this topic, giving technical operational definitions. Okay, about knowing on conceptual and operational definitions. Okay, because these are all vital, no, in giving definitions and explanations to a concept, especially in your term paper, concept paper, and also research. Okay, then write your reflection in your notebook. I know you have your notebook paper in there, but then you complete it right now. I have learned that. Ano bang natutunan natin after knowing those examples, after delving more onto the details between these conceptual definitions and operational definitions? What I have realized, so I have realized that you continue. Okay, that is another task you will do in your task. Okay, the other task in your work, I mean, in your activity. What I have learned. Then I will apply. Okay, after you have learned, after you realized about things, no, about this matter, no, ano ba ang purpose nito, why we know this, we should know this one, then how will you apply it? when or where you will apply this. Okay, giving technical and operational definitions. Thank you. What I have learned. All right. So this would be your what I can do. So let us practice more. Then, according to the directions in your module, okay, from the writers, no, there in our Negros Oriental. Thank you so much for this activity. Okay, make a short essay highlighting the importance of using operational definition. Then you may provide examples and or experiences that would relate to content. Then be guided with your rubric. Okay, thank you so much. Then this would be your rubric. Anything that you will do, there should be a guide. And example of this is the rubric that I provided. Okay, so this is okay. So this is now the rubric. Okay, now you can take a short break. Okay, that's it. So, are there any questions so far for our activity this afternoon? Okay, if you have questions, you can ask something. Okay, say again. All right. To touch with, let's have the assessment. Okay. Which we will try the number one. Then the rest of these items, you will answer that in your own at home, based in your assignments, as part of your assignment. So since this is assessment and you have to do it. Okay, so you're almost done with it, but you will do it. Okay, so develop an operational definition of emotions, behaviors, and states of being. For each of the following statements, please provide operational definition for the underlined word. So while you're doing this, keep in mind that an operational definition clarifies how the researcher should go about measuring the process, activity, or thing. So this is number one. Number one, the experimenter wants to figure out how recreational drugs affect a person's sense of humor. Again, the experimenter wants to figure out how recreational drugs affect a person's sense of humor. The underlined word here is the sense of humor. Then we will develop now operational definition of emotions, behaviors, and states of being about this underlined phrase, sense of humor. Then for that answer, as your guide for the following questions, for number two, and so on and so forth for 2, 3, 4, and 5, let's try having this one. The sense of humor is the ability and will to enjoy certain things and situations. Now, it is a situation whereby a person finds some things funny and enjoys doing or seeing them happen. It can be determined by exposing a person to things that are perceived to be funny and observing if they will be find them funny. So that is operational. And this is based on the author and it's based on the writer. And this is based from your own definition or what is your analysis and what is your interpretation about this sense of humor, a phrase. Okay, so since this is operational definitions, then you got it all by specifying all those, not a conceptual definition, but operational definition. All right, so I do hope, okay, you continue all those things that I have assigned you to do. Then please bear in mind that doing this technical writing, especially in your subject, no, in English 10, giving technical and operational definitions, is very vital and essential, okay, or essential in many ways in doing writing, in doing a reason, in doing not only research, but in our everyday life. This could be reflected in us, okay, by giving true and genuine specific meaning, not only for conceptual, the straightforward definitions of a term, of a concept, but in order for us to know what's our purpose, in order to know what we should be our target, okay, target to hit that point, you should have your operational definitions in that term, right? So please review, okay? If you have some questions, if you have some clarifications, then you can write it down in our comment box so that we will reply you or we can assist you everything. All right. So that is in our lesson, in our lesson for English 10, for quarter 4, module 2, giving technical and operational definitions. All right. So I think it's time. Okay. So see you now in our next session. So thank you so much for your active participations. I do hope you are now in your right place, listening to me and feeling with me and following my guides, no, in order for you to understand well the topic. Okay, giving technical operation definitions. All right, so I think that ends our session for today. This has been your tutor Jess for this subject. Okay, substitute teacher for this subject, or tutor for this subject, English 10. And see you on the next episode, only here at ETUlay program of Department of Education, Philippines. Leaving you with this quote from Vic Manlani: never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Sulok edukalidad. DepEd tagumpay. See you for the next session, reading and writing skills.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Filipino. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!